All right, everyone. I want to welcome you to lesson 2 on creating a course. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of picking a name. And while the notes that you're going to see emphasize a lot on focusing on the name, we're going to talk a little bit about the psychology and dynamics behind it. At the same time, don't add so much weight to it, right? Last time in lesson 1, we covered the importance of knowing the language your audience speaks. Today, and as we get to speak about picking a name, it really is about, do you know their learning style, or the style of learning that you have an easier time putting out there, right? So we're going to cover some of that, and then we're going to attempt to get through lesson 2 today. But let's start out here. So today we're going to be talking about picking a name. So today's objective really is on digging deeper for that perfect name with the intention that your course sells. So the clearer we are with the naming convention, the easier it is for people to know what they're going to get out of it, right? So for example, this course is called How to Create a Course. I have a preference for being straightforward with my titles because I don't want people guessing what it is that they're going to be getting into, right? Some of you are in the mastermind, and the mastermind is called Jumpstart Your Business, right? So the titles should allude to what they're going to get out of it and the language that is attractive or magnetic to them. So if my course in the mastermind is called Jumpstart Your Business, someone that's been in a business online for a long time isn't going to be attracted to that title. However, someone that's starting out online or is starting their business is going to be like, oh, she's going to help me start up my business. So you guys clear on that point? So just nod yes. Okay. One of the things that we started out with. Sorry, I'm having an OCD moment because I'm like, some of these have periods and some don't, and I thought I cleaned them all up. So, um, so we want titles that let people know that we exist. Let the world know that you have a course around something specific. You want to let them know what it's about. And we want to attempt to let them realize that they need this, right? Course creation is something that's very, I'm going to use the word hot right now, because we had the whole pandemic situation going on. People quickly realized, oh, people want to learn things on an online format now. People are willing to take online courses now. Even universities are switching to primarily an online model. So course creation has become something that's very popular, that people are going, how do I do this? So you want to start to think about, where is the mindset of your audience that you're creating that course for? You want to be specific to the course content, right? Like, I'm giving you guys ideas here, and we're using 2 examples. One being, this is called How to Create a Course. It's very straightforward. It was meant for people that aren't clear on how to create a course and want to know how to create one, right? Jumpstart Your Business is designed to help people jumpstart their business online, okay? So you want to be specific inside of the title, if possible, on what you're going to cover, right? It should allude to what you're going to be teaching them. So you want to make sure also that you're targeting your students or prospects, that somehow that's encompassed in the title. Let me take this out. There's an additional thing to move along here. All right. So step 1, you want to make sure that you're teaching them what to expect so that you can fulfill their expectations. Now, this is a lot to ask about in a title, if we think about it, right? So I'm going to take a break here in a moment after I'm done running through this slide and ask some of you where you're at with who your audience is, what your course is going to be about, and then kind of brainstorm a little bit around what that title might be. All right. So your course name should attempt to let people know these things. What's the topic? So you want to have somehow the topic encompassed in it, what type of course it is, the learning style that engages, and what it promises, right? So going back to how to create a course. I could have added things on there to be like how to create a course in 4 weeks or less, right? How to create a course in 4 hours. I could have added things to the title if I was looking for a specific different type of audience. So for me, when I was playing around with this title, I was like, what is really the objective that I'm getting to? I just really want my students to know how to put their course together. So that the title stayed very straightforward to the topic, and how to is addresses a specific style of learning. The promise could be added in a subtitle to my title, and it could be done as easily as adding, as I was saying, how to create a course in 4 weeks or less, or how to create a course in 4 hours or less, which I will add after we are done doing this beta test, because I'm attempting to see realistically, once my students go through this, what was the experience and what was the outcome, and what can I say in the title as that promise, right? So my title right now is a work in progress. I'm beta testing it, you could say, but it has a foundation already. So I'm not going to call it something else other than how to create a course. I'm not going to be like course creation, or I would have started with that. I'm going to keep the how to create a course. And once we've gone through the whole series and I've seen how long it's taken most of you, what some of the things you get out of it are, then I'm going to add to my title that promise. So it'll sound something like how to create a course in 4 weeks or less, or 6 weeks or less, or in 6 hours or less. So I'll gauge that based on what you guys show me as feedback from doing the work. All right, so let me have 2 of you. Since we only have one guy, we'll have one guy go. And so let me start with Michael. Michael loves it when I pick on him first.
Shocker. Okay, well, it's a little crazy because since we started this, 3 weeks ago now, I have about four different courses in the works. But I'll stick. I'll try to. Well, I have a challenge, and then I have a course. So do we want to stick to the course?
Yes.
Okay. So the course is the Success Brain: How to Prime Your Mind to Win at Work and in Life.
Okay. So the Success Brain, how to prime?
How to prime. I think I have it worded differently somewhere. Right now, that's what's on my website. I think I might. I'd love to get some input on that.
Yeah. So if you already have a working title, which is one of the things we're going to cover in some of these other slides, is you now want to go and here we go, test it with an audience, right? Like you want to ask some people that fit that target market and say, okay, here's the title of my course. What do you think this is about? How do you feel about the title? Right? Because right away when you said prime, I'm kind of like, I'm stuck on that word.
It almost... Yeah, and when after I said that, I'm realizing that I actually did change that. I just haven't changed it on the website, which is where I read it from. So so thank you. At least it tells me that I had the right instinct there. I didn't like prime either. I'm just trying to figure out what I changed it to, but
okay.
I don't want to hold off.
So once you figure that out, let us know.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Now I know Karen. Do did you come up with a title for your course? You can unmute yourself.
Yes, I hope so. So the main one would be unblock the path to your perfect match. And then I could add 8 weeks to unblock the path to your perfect match.
Okay. So once again, same, you guys are going to get in the flow of, she's going to go tell me to test it. And you're going to hear that along the way on everything I ask you guys to do, whether it's your podcast, your ebook, your published book, your course, your, even down to your ads. You're going to constantly hear me say, go test it. Go ask your market first and then go test it, right? Always, always, always do that. Get in the habit of going, okay, this isn't the final iteration. I have to see how my audience is going to respond to this.
What is the difference between check with your target market and then test it?
So check with your target market. You should have a group or a circle of people that you're able to go to and ask questions. So you could do that in your mastermind. You could do that in some of the groups that you belong in, if they meet your demographic and the psychographic. And we covered that in the first week, right? So once you have a set of people that say, hey, yeah, I'm willing to give you feedback, then you want to make sure you're in communication with them and you're saying, okay, so here's where I'm at. I'm at the title part. I'm going to send you 2 options or 3 options. I just want to get your feedback. How do you feel about this? What do you think it's about? What are your suggestions? And then you let that small pool, because you don't want hundreds of people in that pool. You just want a select few, right? Like I tell people, 10 people, 12 people, that's a small enough audience that you can stay in connection with and in contact with, where it's a win-win, where they feel like they're contributing and they feel like they're helping you, but you're also building a relationship with them along the way. And some of those people may be even the people that end up in your beta test of that course. Okay. Now, when I say test it, you've had a small audience tell you, here's our feedback. So there's what they're telling you, and there's what you've figured out for yourself. Now we're going to throw it out there to what we call like the broad market, right? And now we're going to put it out there based on the feedback you came up with for yourself and the feedback you've come up with your test audience. And then you put it out in the market. And then you go to see, do I like the response I'm getting? You know what? Let me go back to one of the other iterations and see what happens. And literally all you're going is, I'm just going to test this and see what happens. I'm going to change this one word and see if that gives me a better response.
But when you put it out in the first place and some people say yes and they sign up for it, are you putting it out there for them to sign up, or are you only putting it out there for them to say, yeah, I like that?
No, you're putting it out there for them to sign up. But as you're getting people buying, you still want in the buying process to go, okay, so I got this kind of response from this group of people. I'm now going to go test changing the price. I'm now going to test changing one word. I'm now going to test, a subset of my audience.
So you're saying that while people are still signing up, the name could be changing, the price could be changing, all of that could be changing. So this one's going to sign up at this price with this title, and this one's going to sign up at this price with this title.
So yes. So when I launched when I launched my first course ever, right? It was 6 weeks. I did it for free. Launched it the second time around, I charged $497. Launched it the third time around, we charged $197. I had more people come in at $197 than I did the $497. So then I had to decide for myself, do I want less people and more money? Or do I want more people and less money? And then I got to choose. Karen's like, these are too many choices. So a big part of this is testing and tweaking, testing and tweaking. And we're always going for what works best for me and how do I optimize this. All right, so I'm gonna have you guys mute yourselves, and this is a pretty short lesson, so I think we can get done through 2 today. So the second thing is we wanna avoid boring names, yet, like I told you guys in the beginning, I err more on the side of being straightforward with my titles, even if they might not be as like amazing and pizzazz, as long as I know I'm meeting some of those criteria that I gave you guys, right? Is it telling my audience where they're headed? Is it telling my audience what this topic is about? So your course names might be descriptive, but they should never be boring. Now this is coming from, you know, the marketing world. Like every marketing book is going to tell you this. Using verbs in titles works very well, right? If you can find a natural way to show the benefits of your course in the title, then it's going to get more attention. So when we add dates, when we add numbers, when we add verbs, that's descriptive enough for an audience to decide if they want to attend and buy your course. Let's go back to something all of you got drawn in, like not all of you, the majority of you got drawn into Clients in Abundance, right? Like the title itself for their program or their course is broad, but it's also very descriptive. Regardless of the experience you ladies had, that's a very capturing title, right? I'm getting ready to create courses around spiritual and unstoppable. So when I put that out there and I started to test and I let people know, hey, I'm getting ready to launch a podcast. It's called Spiritual and Unstoppable. What do you think this is about? Then people would start telling me what they thought, right? Then once I realized, okay, the right message is going to the audience. And when I say the right message, meaning they're answering in a way that I want to lead them to a specific result, and they're hearing it in the title. So then I was like, okay, let's launch with this title. Then it became, now I need to bring people into my, in this case, it wasn't the course, it was the podcast. I need to bring people into the podcast. Is my title enough that when I write a message out, the person I'm asking to interview is going to be clear about the outcome? Because here we're talking about titles. We're going to use this methodology specifically for titles and courses, but this goes for titles and everything. You guys are clear on that? This is like naming your books, naming your courses, naming your programs, naming your podcasts. This applies to naming conventions. So the response was, even when I went into groups inside of Clubhouse that was supposed to be like 6- and 7-figure earners, and I would get a chance to ask the audience in there, right? There's hundreds of people in there. And I would say, I'm working on launching a podcast. It's called Spiritual and Unstoppable. Here's who I'm looking for. Next thing I knew, I had dozens of messages from people. Plus they had gone to go like the Instagram page and the Facebook page. That told me, oh, there's a demand and an interest for that title, for that topic. And I'm using title and topic together because your title should include the topic you're covering. Now, it works best when your title reflects a promise, right? The thing you're going to deliver. So I love that Karen said, what was it again, Karen? Can you repeat it?
Unblock the path to your perfect match.
But there was you said you were going to
Or
add something.
I could add 8 weeks to unblock the path to your perfect match.
Okay. So when I hear those two, I'm more attracted to the fact that she said 8 weeks to unlock a perfect match, you said? Right. So then all of a sudden I'm going, ooh, you're telling me that in 8 weeks I could end up with a perfect match? Right? Now there's the promise. That's what she's saying she's going to deliver. That's like slam dunk type of title. Right? Avoid cliches. That is one thing that I'm very much like, I can't even think of any cliches right now, but do not use cliches in your title. Like avoid using a cliche in your title is what I'm getting to. If you can mention the most relevant value, so Karen's title hits every point that I had in the first slide, right? She's celebrating. And when I hear that title, part of me is going, she's very clear on who her ideal prospect or student is. So that's why in lesson 1, we covered you need to know your audience, your student, more than what it is you want to teach. Most courses fail, not because the content isn't good, but because they're creating content for something that there isn't a demand for, or they're creating content from the perspective of what they want to teach, not what the audience wants to learn. All right, step 3. Once we've gone through those, oh, am I using adjectives? Am I being descriptive? Is the promise of value inside of there? Then we're going to go test the title, right? So this is what we were talking about, right? Now, I like when I say test, we're always looking for improving. So you always want to be thinking about, okay, this is giving me this many people signing up. And like I said, if I change this word or if I tweak this way, then put it back out there and see what happens. If you get more people enrolling using the word prime versus, I don't know what other word you use, Michael, but versus a different word, you're going to be able to see, well, I had 20 people enroll when I used this title, but I had 50 people enroll when I used this title.
I think I'm going to use recircuit as another option.
Recircuit.
Recircuit your brain.
I would look at more adjectives like rewire, retrain, recircuit, right? So you want to play with some of those adjectives.
Rewire, I like to.
So once again, as we're playing with our titles, right? You have a test group. They've given you feedback. You're going to go and launch that course with that title, but you can always come back and test that title again against the original title. The material is still going to be the same. It's just the title we're playing with. So I watched a woman start a group on how to leverage pop-up groups, right? And this was last year, and pop-up groups was like the thing people were bragging about, the thing people were doing, right? And then same material, she called it creating community to leverage your business or something like that, right? Same material, different title. Now, same thing, different title. She's calling it Queen Millionaire Activation. She got more people on this third iteration of her title than she did the first 2. And I say she got more people because I've signed up for each of her programs each time, and I get to see how many people sign up into the group. She also had a higher closing rate on her second one, since the third one hasn't finished yet, than she did her first version of that course. So the first version of her course, she said she did around $200 and some thousand for a 5-day challenge leading into her course. Second time she did it, she did 700,000. Different title, attracted more people, right? Then her third time around, this time around, she has more people. Sorry, on her second one, she had less people, but they were more targeted, is what I want to say. On this third iteration, she has less women that she had on her first or second title. However, the women that are in there are more engaged. So that tells me that by her tweaking the title and being very specific to the outcome, the people that want that specific outcome are the ones that are showing up. So I hope this is making sense to you guys. So titles, don't ever be afraid to play with the title, even if it's the same material you're teaching. Because you're going to start to see, oh, if I tweak it this way, I'll get more of the ideal audience that I'm looking for. I get more serious buyers than I did when I did this. Okay. So make sure your title suits your course. So I put on here, not a blog post or a magazine article. So I see a lot of people attempt to name their courses or programs because they saw something flashy in a magazine or a title of a blog somebody used, and then they go mimic that and it doesn't do very well. And one of the big reasons this happens is they haven't gone and really tested against their audience. Okay. And I end with, make sure your title has that thing that you're solving. If it's one thing that must be in your title, it is, what is the thing you're solving? Right? What is that thing that you're promising them you're going to do for them? No matter what, even if you miss all the other stuff that I said, that definitely 100% needs to be in your title. All right, I'm going to pause this, if I can figure out. Okay. I think I stopped the recording. Did I? Nope, it's still blinking.